I'm going to be.
Hi guys, hi guys. Welcome to Let's Talk About Ice on the couch for Thursday night. We've got a very special guest with us tonight named Trudy. Hi Trudy.
Hi.
Okay. We're going to be talking from a family support perspective tonight. This is why I'm on the couch tonight and not Andrea. But before we go there, I'm going to do some housekeeping. Yes, housekeeping, not housework, Andrea, as she calls it, housekeeping. So at this stage, I just want to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors are those that help us do what we need to do, and that is to go into the schools and places to educate about ice addiction and bring awareness to young people and others on from a lived experience perspective. Okay, so to do that, I'd like to thank Mercer and Cooper Realty, who have sold another property. Thank you, Mercer and Cooper. For every property they sell, we get $500, and I just really appreciate that. We appreciate that at Australian Anti-Ice from the depths of our hearts. So thank you, Mercer and Cooper, for that. I'd also like to thank Rotary for their donation that has helped educate 100 kids. Okay, so across the schools, so Rotary have been absolutely wonderful, and also there was a silent corporate sponsor that has given us enough money to help educate 1,000 kids. Can you believe that? It costs us $10 a child to educate, Trudy, just to bring awareness about ice addiction. So we went out into the schools today at Beenleigh. If anyone from Beenleigh is watching, hi. And Andrea and Esther was there with Wazza and others to do the education there, and they had a fantastic time with the kids as well as the students, the teachers that were there. So I'm glad that was a success today. That was fantastic. Also, I'd like to bring to your attention events that are coming up, especially our Walk Against Ice. This is a nationwide, Australia-wide event. Walk Against Ice, it's our first one, first of so many events that of Walk Against Ice we're going to have each year around this time. And so it's on Sunday the 15th of September in not this Sunday, the next Sunday at 10 a.m. in your area. If you'd like to know more about that, just go to our website, all the W's, australianantiicecampaign.org.au. Click on the top link, and that will show you where your nearest walk is. For us here though at Gold Coast, we are starting our walk at the Nick Fiordi's Park, which is behind the Broad Beach Surf Lifesaving Club. We're starting there at 10 o'clock, walking a kilometre up to Kurrawa Surf Lifesaving Club and back again. And when you come back, you'll be rewarded with a sausage sizzle. I want to thank the Rotary Sunrise for that. And also, you need to register. It only costs $10 to register. We say $10 because that's how much it costs to educate one child against addiction. So we're starting there on the 15th, and we have got wonderful kickboxing, I can't say it tongue-tied, the world kickboxing champion Ian Jacobs that will be leading the walk along with NRL legend Kevin Campion, who will be leading the walk with us here at the Gold Coast. So search your local area for who is going to be on the walk in your local area. So we're excited about that because it's the first one. Go, Andrea! Yes! For once she's throwing it at me. And you can pay, while you're registering for your walk, you can also go online and buy your cap and your shirt, your Neo shirt. How's that? Good catch. Yeah, that way. That way. And yeah, and that's what you can be wearing on our walk for our Walk Against Ice. That and the cap would look just absolutely stylish, don't you think? Very stylish. And if you can't do the walk, you can also go on our online shop on our website and order your cap and your t-shirt and also our mugs. Do you want to hold up your mug there, Trudy? We have the mugs there. How much are the mugs again? $15? Something like that. It's on our website. And there you go. So I'm going to throw them back to you, Andrea. You're a better throw than me. Thank you. And so that's the housekeeping done. I don't think there's anything else we need to do we? I'm just looking towards Andrea for help here, for prompts. Okay, guys, thank you once again for joining us tonight. Tonight we're coming from a perspective of a family member. Now, Trudy's son, Kyle, had been caught in addiction, and Trudy would like to share her story. And if you can, folks, while we're talking here and before I start, please share this page on your website, on your Facebook, please, because you could be helping somebody. You don't know who you could be helping out there. Give them hope, even family members, giving them hope that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it does not necessarily have to be a train coming. We know how difficult it is with addiction, and one person affects 9 different people, from a family member to emergency services to EDs in the hospitals, so on and so forth, rehabs and community. It affects us in such a big way. And so Trudy, your story with your son. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for coming in, and you're very, very brave to share your story with us tonight. So thank you for that. And just see it as though you're just having a coffee with me on the couch. Trudy, where did it first start for you and your family and Kyle?
It started when Kyle was about 13, 14 years old. His father committed suicide.
Okay, so trauma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there he just started off with marijuana and stuff like that, with mates and stuff like that, to try and make things feel better.
Yeah. So he was sort of masking that pain, wasn't he? With a, guys, a gateway drug. I know we all have opinions out there and we're all entitled to our opinions, but generally drugs like marijuana that seem to be a light drug, these days, more than often, you'll find it is laced with ice. And you never know which one is going to be laced with ice. So that's a story for another time. So he tried to mask the pain with marijuana. And where did it go from there?
So, because he sort of got himself into a world of the drug area and stuff like that. So mainly marijuana for probably the first 2 years. And then with the people that he was hanging around, it just sort of started to get into, the pills and meth and all of that sort of stuff. And of course the ice always follows along behind it. So, that was sort of, and now he's just spent 14 months in jail. So, and it will still be there for about another 3
months. And that's where it can lead you. It can lead you down 3 ways, guys. If you try ice, you think it's an experiment, you want to get be part of your peers, your peer pressure, you want to be in the in crowd, and you try that ice, it's going to lead you down three roads. One's going to be either prison, mental health institution, or suicide. That's the bottom line.
He's done 2 or 3.
He's done 2 or 3. Which 2? The prison.
He's done the prison, and so it's a hard walk for everybody.
And when did you first? Because he was obviously raised. We were talking before we come on the couch here, and Trudy was saying to me that he was raised in a loving Christian home. So that tells me that this evil drug does not discriminate. It does not discriminate. You can come from the most amazing, humble home and still get caught up in this addiction. So because he was raised in this home, you obviously didn't have a clue about drugs. Is that correct?
I've done drugs in my past, but no more than marijuana and stuff like that in my younger days. But
back in the day when it wasn't so.
But nothing to what he's definitely outdone me. That's for sure.
Yep. And so when did you first start noticing a difference in your son?
He started hanging out with a few. He got really close with one of his mates, and he went through a few hardships as well, and sort of keeping him company and trying to get him through. He thought he was helping, trying to get him through his situation. He started using other drugs and stuff like that, and that's where it started. And then he went down to one of the doof parties down over the border, and that's where he put himself into a psychosis. So
with the ice,
with the ice, and of course the lovely mixtures that they make down at those parties. So and then we got a random, really weird phone call from him down there. He had no way of getting home. The people he'd gone down with had just sort of left him down there.
Oh dear.
And then when he got back up here, he was very very distant, very spacey. And then as the weeks went on, the gibberish talk, how would you call it? Like he would see meanings in basic sentences. Like,
Okay.
you know, he'd still be trying to read his Bible and stuff like that, but what a basic sentence would mean would just be a completely different meaning to him, completely different. And then he would get angry with us because we didn't understand and we couldn't help him. I couldn't explain things to him, and even when you try and sort of explain it, what you were saying to him, it's like he didn't fully comprehend what you were saying.
Did you know at that point that he was actually on something, or did you think it was something else? Or
we figured it was something, and that's when I reached out to the mental health, like the government mental health system.
Yep.
And because we were worried because he was just getting, like, I've got 3 girls at home that are younger than him, and even they were getting scared because he would get angry over nothing. And we were just worried because we didn't know what he was going to do. Like, he's always been a very stable kid.
Yep.
But yeah, he was very unstable, very flighty. Any little thing could set him off.
Yep.
You know, you would hear him because we were upstairs, he was downstairs. He had his little man cave downstairs in the shed, and you know, you would hear him sometimes just breaking stuff downstairs, just in frustration and stuff like that. You know, and the last thing I wanted was for him to come upstairs and do that, something like that around the girls when I wasn't home. So that's when I sort of rang the hotlines and that sort of thing. And it takes, even to try and reach out, to try and find those phone numbers to even start with, are really hard.
You're not the only one who said that. I'm time again, as you know, guys, I'm the care team coordinator, and time again I hear parents and loved ones of those in addiction, and they say the same thing. It's very difficult to find those numbers, you know. At this point, a little bit of a commercial break. If you do know of someone or have someone in your family in addiction and you do need support, we're here to help. Okay, you can call us on 1-800-NO-TO-ICE on the dial of your phone, 1-800-NO-TO-ICE, and we'll get back to you and we can arrange family support for you. And for those of you who are in addiction or have a loved one in addiction, as I said, who want to go to rehab, we're here as well. We've got lived experience people that have been there, done that. They know what you've been going through, and they can get alongside you and buddy you and help you through. That's for family support and also for those who are looking for a pathway out. It doesn't matter how many years you've been on this drug. I've spoken to parents who've had kids on this drug for 20, 30 years, and they've still been able to find direction through using the help of presenters or of what we call presenters or buddies, those who have been in addiction themselves and come out the other end, to guide them because they know they've been there. And that's the same for family support. So it's 1-800-NO-TO-ICE, or if not, you could go to our Facebook page. We have a private message service there. You can leave a message there, and we have our website, which is all the W's, AustralianAnti-ICE-Campaign.org.au. So just a little commercial break there. So you found it difficult finding the hotline numbers.
Yeah, and even when you do get onto them and that, they class a 16-year-old as an adult. So even to try and get them to do anything, I had to sort of pretty much exaggerate what was really happening, and that just to get someone to come out and assess him.
Okay.
You know, because of his age.
Oh my goodness.
And that was the hardest thing that I found.
Yep.
Yeah,
did he admit to you in the end that he tried ice, or how did that
really
come about?
He said that he had tried, you know, the cocaine and and the meth and all that sort of stuff. Ice never really come into it until he's actually been in prison.
Right.
And that, but you know, talking to him now, you know, he's found God in there. He's straightened his life out, and you know, God's got big plans for him when he does actually get out eventually.
Yeah.
He's got a long probation period, parole period after that, but hopefully that will be enough to keep him on track.
Yeah, and to stay away from that lifestyle, stay away from those people that I like to call frenemies. You think they're your friends, but they're your enemies. So to stay away from that. And so you had him assessed, and what did they say when you had him assessed?
they had him on their books for about 12 months. During that time, so when he went, when they put him into what they class as ICU,
Right.
and that when he first went into Robina, they gave him whatever drug it is that gets them out of those psychosis, but he didn't come straight out of the psychosis.
Oh, okay.
So they had to mix it with a bipolar medication. So never known him to be bipolar. Growing up as a kid, he was never that way inclined. So whether that's something that's come from the overdose or from the psychosis, we're not 100% sure. And that, but he's still on. I think it's about 1,000 milligrams of lithium a day.
Is he?
Which is huge.
Yep, it is.
And that's killing his body from the inside, really.
Because it's got other side effects to it. So,
correct.
Yeah. So what he needs, there's so many things that he could learn and do health-wise, but that can happen once he gets out of jail.
Yeah. So he still wants to do rehab when he gets out. So that's something that we have to look at as well.
And if he wants to do it, you just have to keep trying. I know that there are waiting periods for people to get into rehab, but I find that if you keep nagging it and ring every couple of days you keep ringing the same rehab, then eventually there's a bed that comes available, and then they get to see, okay, this bloke or person is determined, so they'll assess you when they see that you're determined.
Yeah,
so,
he's had a couple of those.
Okay.
The thing that I think that would benefit a lot of people is having more of the rehabs that do them while they're incarcerated.
I know, and this is the one thing that we have a long-term goal with Australian Anti-ICE campaign, because we're coming a long way, and we're about to get into Parliament with some things, and what we'd love to have happen is legislation that there is rehab in the prison systems, because it would lower the recidivism rate.
The thing that I found devastating, I think the main thing when he went in there, because all along as he was going downhill, and that I kept on saying to him, you need to get some counselling, you need to get some counselling. Even with the mental health system, I tried to get him counselling, but because he was self-medicating, so they were giving him medication, he felt horrible on that, of course, as they do. And they feel numb, and they don't feel this and they don't feel that, and they're so used to feeling everything with the drugs, and that they feel even more numb than a normal person would feel numb. And that, so he was self-medicating. He was taking the drugs that they were giving him, but he was taking other stuff to make him feel what he wanted to feel.
Oh my goodness.
And that, so it was a big nice cocktail. And I mean, he was in jail probably 5 months, I think it was, before he could actually say that he felt like he was finally out of the psychosis.
Right. Okay, so that's how long it takes. It actually takes a good 12 or more, about 2 years from what Andrea has said, and I've learnt from those that have used, 2 years for the brain, the plasticity of the brain to even start healing itself, because what the methamphetamines do, the ice, is they put like holes in your brain, and they take away from your I was watching the video last week a lot, and I'm trying to remember the name, the synapses that gives us these feelings, and the dopamine, that it just destroys all that, so you don't feel it anymore, and you lose also the frontal lobe of your brain that gives you the logic, helps you think logically. It takes that away, and that's what brings on the psychosis, because they get frustrated. And could you share with us, Trudy, for someone out there that would need to hear, and I know a lot of parents out there could probably so relate to you, a couple of incidences that may have happened while your son Kyle was using and living at home. You were sharing with me earlier some things that happened.
So we would constantly get raids.
Okay.
I'm a single mum, so I was the only breadwinner in the house, so I was at work, and of course most of their raids are at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and depending on where my roster fell, most mornings I would be at work at like 6:30, 7:30 in the morning. So I think I've been home for one of the raids out of probably 15 raids.
Oh, you're kidding. 15 raids.
Over the
Is that
time.
because he was dealing?
He was, yes, but it was a lot of it. It started because were other people around that area dealing,
Okay.
and considering what they were looking for,
Mm.
they were at the wrong house, let's just
Okay.
say. But that's what started it, and because they found stuff, then it just kept going and going and
And
going.
going. And
Yeah.
so he's basically on the register to be
Yep.
one of the first ones to be raided. Okay.
Yep, our house even came up on the, there's some app thing that you can check it
Oh.
where the highest.
Yeah.
Yeah, our house.
Oh
came
my
up.
goodness!
It's
And that, what did that do to you as a mum? I want to know,
It's-
how did that, with your son and this happening, how did you feel?
It's-
What did it do to you
Um,
and your family?
it's devastating to watch, considering he's such a smart boy.
Yeah.
To watch him go through what he's gone through is absolutely devastating. His sisters, they have seen a lot of things in their lifetime that no child should have to see.
Mm-hmm.
We've had there was one night one of his mates had been stabbed out at the park, and of course we're the closest, so he'd come up to us, and I've got one of my kids holding his leg together,
Oh.
to until we can get stuff to,
Mhm.
to stitch him up and stuff like that. It's crazy,
It's
the
a
things
crazy
that they've
world.
said, seen,
Mhm.
and, for a little, I think she would have been probably 10, 12, and that, to wake up in the morning with a gun pointed to her face,
Oh my goodness.
when they've come in and done the raids and stuff
Oh
like
my
that. So
goodness.
it's pretty devastating, and she said that at like 7:30 in the morning or something that she's got to go to school,
Mm.
and she gets out the door and she's on the phone to me crying her eyes out because they won't let her call her mother.
Mm.
So I don't even find out what's going on,
Until
even though
after.
they're in a house full of minors.
Oh.
They're not even allowed to call me
Oh my goodness.
until after the fact.
That's horrific.
So it was
Yeah.
just absolutely devastating for them. I think they've probably felt more of the brunt of it than what
Yeah.
I have, because like I said, out of all of the raids that he's had, I've only ever really been home once. Every other time
Mm.
I've been at work,
Mm.
and because he's downstairs, the girls are upstairs.
Mm.
They're the ones that cop the first
Mm.
face to face. When they're pushing in the door or
Mm.
whatever.
How did you cope? I mean, really? How did you cope? What were-
Being a Christian, without God, I really don't think I would have coped.
Yeah.
I
How
really
did God help you?
just to keep peace, to keep, just to keep it together.
Yep.
To be in His presence, and instead of falling apart in a
Yep.
stressful moment, you have that time with God. You cry your eyes out, and He deals with all of that.
Mm.
He deals with that emotion. He deals with that hurt.
Mm.
And
you
yeah,
bear
just,
witness to that.
It
Yeah.
keeps you calm when you need to be calm, because
Mm.
you can release that to God.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a lot of people out there that choose not to believe in God, yet they're suffering. And I just want you to know that there is help out there, guys. We're here to help at Australian Anti-ICE campaign to get you some support. Okay, this is not good. It seems to me that what the government's doing at the moment is not working. It's just growing. Did you know, Trudy, that the recent studies that that have been done has shown a 480% spike, of methamphetamines found in our wastewater
Wow, that's
over a
crazy.
6 month period.
That's huge.
Hello, what is it? What are we
Yeah.
doing? What's working? Nothing's working. If we can get and educate these kids, and this is what we do, we come alongside families, as I've been mentioning, for support, but we also go out there and we educate. We use lived experience people to come in, and they say to the kids, look, we're not here to be your mother or your teacher or your cop. We're not even here to tell you not to do drugs. But we're here to say, this is what happens when you do try drugs. This is what happened to me, and they share their horror stories, and they interweave it along with the PowerPoint presentation that we bring into the kids. And so that, to me, would then turn kids off. 480 increase in 6 years, meth in wastewater. I've got to get my thanks, Andrea. 480% over 6 years. Sorry, guys, I do correct that. I sit corrected. What was I saying? Yeah, so they go there and they teach the kids this is what happens to if you do get on drugs and if you do try it. This is what happened to me, and it turns the kids off trying drugs. And I've got to warn you, I said earlier and I'll say it again, marijuana is not a soft drug. These days you don't know what they've laced marijuana with. It's not like the days of the early 70s and the happy, was it flower power days. These days, to get their clientele up, they are lacing they're lacing marijuana, thanks, with ice, and you don't know you're becoming addicted to it, and people don't know what it looks like. You know, it can be taken anyway. It can be smoked. It can be taken as a drug. It can be as a powder. You know, anyway, and people don't know, and it can be laced. So you've got to be very careful what you're accepting out there. You know, and what you're trying, because it can lead you down, as Andrea says in a song of hers, to a highway of destruction in your life. You know. Okay, getting back to Trudy and your story as a mum. Over the time, how long was it that your son Kyle was on this drugs, and was the family experiencing all this? How long a period was that?
So, yeah, as I said earlier, he started at about, I think his dad committed suicide at about 14.
Mm-hmm.
By the time he was about 15 was when he started with the marijuana, and that just through the friends that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was pretty much connected with the gangs and stuff like that by about probably 16.
And how old is he now?
He's just turned 24.
So 10 years. 10 years, that's sad. And yet he is getting his life together, so I need to say that there is hope out there, guys. And girls, there is hope out there, all right? 10 years, your family has been suffering through this, dealing with it. You said God has been your crutch,
rock,
so to speak, your rock.
My rock, mate.
Yeah, and that's good. Other people don't know how to cope. What would you say? What advice would you give to parents from your experiences, from lessons you've learned? Actually, let's talk about the lessons you've learned. What are some of the lessons you've learned from your experience with your son?
Crikey.
Sorry.
Rely on God.
Yes.
And that, because honestly, I really, like we said earlier, like I try and after the fact you sit back and you think, how could I have done this differently?
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly can't think of anything that I could have done differently, but to watch him and my girls go through what they had to go through without God in our life, we would be a broken family.
Yeah.
But 10 years on, we are probably stronger and closer today than what we were ever before.
That's fantastic.
And I have to give thanks to God for that.
Yep, absolutely. I'm getting goosebumps from that. Yeah. It's
so
the truth. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about enabling and not enabling. Okay, because there's a very fine line, isn't there?
There is, yes.
Tell us about that.
I tried different ways with him. I tried to get him counselling and stuff like that. Of course, we've had conversations and that since he's been in jail and that sort of thing, and even he feels that if I had have pushed that on him, he wouldn't have accepted it anyway. He probably would have pushed us further away. So I've tried that, didn't work. I tried kicking him out, didn't. All that done for us is made us. It just made everything scarier.
Oh wow!
And that although.
How was it scarier?
Well, we didn't know.
Okay. Didn't know where he was.
Didn't know where he was. What he was doing. None of that. Whereas, yes, it was horrible for us to go through what we went through with the raids and all of that sort of stuff. Horrible. But at least we knew.
Yeah. Okay.
There was, and it's it goes on and on. I mean, we had one night I didn't find out until I think it was about 3 days later in a conversation. We're all upstairs watching TV. He's downstairs, and they're all held at gunpoint downstairs. Him and three of his mates. Are you serious? We had no clue.
No clue.
No clue. So this is a sort of so quiet, because and they were held there for about 2-3 hours.
Who was holding them at gunpoint? Dealers?
People that thought that they had taken stuff from other people.
Fair income. Oh my goodness.
You know, so but it's not just us. It's heartbreaking to find out the things that he's gone through. You know, and we're upstairs. We don't even know. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got people coming and going all the time.
Yeah.
So you take no notice of the shed door going up and down or anything like that.
No, you don't.
Just it's just another noise. It's just someone else is here. You don't think of it, and that So it's horrifying to think. You know, like he's had stabbings down there. We've had people that have been, you know, they've come in and they've been beaten down there, and you know sometimes we'll hear it, and it's just. Horrifying.
Excuse that noise. It's the family support phone. I think somebody's ringing the family support phone tonight. It doesn't normally ring, so someone's answering it for you now. So sorry about that. That's great because I think it's somebody needing help, and that's great. And we will get back to you, I promise, within 24 hours and talk to you. But as you were saying, Trudy, not knowing what's going on downstairs, all these frightening things happening.
And that's the thing. If it's happening downstairs, at least we know it's happening. And that's what I mean. Like, if he's not there, and we don't hear from him, and he's somewhere else, what if something like that happened to him? And something happened. I mean, last night alone, there was a stabbing in the park. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's all it is. That's all it takes. Wrong place, wrong time. Piss the wrong person off.
Yep. And you're out.
Yeah, and you know, even when when I had kicked him out, like we didn't hear from him a week. It was the most horrible week.
Okay.
Of our life.
Yeah, because
we just don't know if he's alive, if he's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I mean by the fine line between enabling and not enabling. And sometimes we say to parents, listen, you have to share with your loved one going through addiction. Tell them how much you love them. Now, Trudy loves her son. I'm sure you told your son so much. You loved him and you missed the old Kyle.
Yeah.
And you want the old Kyle back. And that's basically what it is, guys and girls. You just tell your loved one you love them, but you cannot participate in their lifestyle. Yeah. And if you have to kick them out, then you may have to get them homeless so that they come to the end of themselves, to the point where they see, oh, hang on a minute, I do need help.
Yeah. But the scary part in that is you've got to be careful. You kick them out, and they may go and do or sell something even worse, and they're already selling so that they can keep a roof over their head.
Yeah, and but then in the end they lose it. I know the Shalom House, Peter Lyndon James has a talk, and he says that if your loved one in addiction keeps coming back to sleep off their addiction, they're doing it so that they don't get robbed, so they don't get the jewellery ripped from them, and then they go out and have another shoot up, because it can. So you see the fine line. It can be good or bad either way, and it's different for each person. And this is where our family support comes in, because your experience, Trudy, for example, can help another parent going through this journey. And you could say to them, look, I'm not saying that you should do it my way, but this is what I found. You know, try this or try that.
Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's valleys are deeper than others, and mountains are higher than others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We at this point, thanks, Andrea. I'm going to promote a book. We have a wonderful family support lady on our team. I want to thank you, Rosalind Saunders. Look back on YouTube, type in Let's Talk About Us, Rosalind Saunders, and you'll see her talk that she had with us. This is Rosalind here. And she wrote a book called Emotional Sobriety. This beautiful lady has 3 children in addiction. Can you believe it? 3. You had 1. I know. And she became a counsellor, and she wrote this book called Emotional Sobriety, Finding Raw Courage to Recover from Codependency. So codependency means that the loved one becomes dependent upon the addiction of their loved one. In other words, though your loved one's in addiction, you could become addicted to their trying to get them out of it, and then you lose yourself in it, and you lose who you are. Yes, I've read it, finally read it, Rosalind. You'll love it. And she talks about here, do you say yes to things you don't want to do and do them anyway? You know, did you find that? Did you find you said yes to your son was asking for money because he didn't have enough for cigarettes or something like that.
No, you always had enough money.
You always had enough money, he found it. Do you feel it's your job to fix, manage and hold your relationship or family together? Normally as parents, we think we do. We tend to think
Yeah, well, that's probably a lot of it,
Yeah.
like with trying to keep him there, he's just trying to keep everything together, I think, could have been a lot of it. It's okay to sort of, it kicked him out, it was safer to have him at home, but in the same token, maybe he might not have been 10 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
If I had have just said no and let go.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
don't know.
See, retrospect can be an evil thing, but it can be also a thing that you can use to help others.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, are you so busy giving and doing for others that feel you have nothing left for yourself?
Yeah, it felt like that a lot,
I'm
and
sure
that's
it
where
did.
you just got to give it to God, because you get sucked into it so easily, and it just the whole drama of it all just becomes a part of life.
It does, and you lose yourself to the point that you don't do self-care.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And like if you answered yes to any of these questions, you might be codependent. And what's codependency? It's the mother of all addictions. And Rosalind speaks about that in her emotional sobriety book. Comes from a mother with great experience of her loved ones being an addiction. So it's a great book, guys. You can get this book on our website, www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au. Go to our shop online, and you can get this book. It's not that expensive. I'm not sure how much it is, but I'm sure you can get it. And I know with parts of the proceeds goes towards AAIC in education and awareness. So I just wanted to plug that book because it's so appropriate for this talk that we're having. You talked about your daughters experiencing all this. Where are they at today? How has that affected them to today, where they're at today over the period? Are they?
His sister was part of his charges that he's jailed for at the moment.
How did she become part of his charges?
She wanted to get pills and stuff like that for parties and stuff like that she was going to and things like that. So so she became part of that. But in an up, she's just finishing. She graduates from school this year, and she's actually looking at going into because of everything that she's gone through. Her and her brother had a very, very tight relationship. They were very, very close, and she hasn't been able to see him for the last 15 months that he's been in jail.
Oh wow!
So they talk occasionally on the phone, but it breaks both their hearts to not see each other, and it's hard for both of them to even make that phone call. Every time they talk to each other on the phone, they usually end up in tears. So. But she's wants to graduate from high school and do social work and work with youth and along the lines of what you guys do and try and help people.
Absolutely. Oh, you'll have to send
She's
her
got
our way.
Plenty of life experience.
Excellent.
From
I'm
the
sure
other
she
side.
does. I'm sure she does, and I'm sure she'd fit in really well here with the people that we use here with lived experience. I mean, we can stay and dwell on what's been bad, but you can also turn that around for good.
Yeah, and I mean, she's whereas she didn't want to finish school, she didn't want to do this, she had pretty crappy friends and stuff at different stages and stuff like that. She's let go of all of those sort of friends that were leading her down that path.
Frenemies, remember, guys.
And Kyle's kept her on track.
Good.
In that way, don't do the same things I have.
Oh wow! So it's what has been a very long and arduous and tough journey for one family. It sounds like you've turned it around, and used it for good. So what the enemy tries to, destroy, to kill, steal, and destroy, you've turned it around for good to be able to help other people.
But trust me, I think she has a lot of amazing things in her future.
Oh wow!
And that because
that's exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah,
And so
enemy
does
tries
Kyle.
to enemy tries to take her out
Yeah.
a fair bit.
And-
with
yeah.
different emotional stuff. So.
Okay. And how's Kyle at the moment? Where's he at? When was the last time are you able to go in and visit him? Or
I
do you
see
visit
him every single Saturday.
Do you?
Do not miss a
it's
Saturday.
It's a regular. Yep.
Every Saturday.
Oh wow! What a great mum.
Every
I'm
Saturday.
sure there's so many of you out there, and you know, don't give up hope, guys. Please don't give up hope. Talk to us. We can help guide and support you while you're doing your journey, and you too can be like
13,000 Ks on Wildberry Newcastle. Over 13,000 Ks
Amazing.
since January.
Since January.
Just to go and see him every Saturday.
Wow, what a beaut mum you are.
So,
Oh wow.
but he's worth it.
He is. Everyone's
He's
worth it.
definitely-
We're all so beautifully, wonderfully, uniquely designed, and you know what? Like I said before, what the devil tries to take to kill, steal, and destroy from us, we can turn around for good, and make that a positive thing, and you can too. So please don't give up. I know sometimes you must have felt like you just wanted to throw the towel in. And
There was a lot of times, and especially while he was in jail, a lot of things that they do when they first go to jail is so that because they're coming down off all of that stuff, they drug them up. They just drug them up.
They do, don't they? I've had
It's
that
horrible.
before.
I had, there was probably about a month that was absolutely heartbreaking, and you would go in and see him, and you sit there for 2 hours, you can hardly even hold a conversation. He was like, the sloth videos that, when they do everything slow motion, and that he would, even to yawn, and that he would take that long to yawn, he would dribble.
Oh, my
That's
gosh,
how,
that's sad.
that is how drugged up they had him in there. And God turned it around, and they had moved units, and when they moved units, they forgot to give him his meds. So these other meds and injections and that they were giving him just stopped. And within a week, you could see the difference. And I said to him, say no. Don't take it.
Yeah.
I said, book an appointment with your psychiatrist, and because that's what you can see in there. And you've got that as backup, because it'll take you 2 weeks to get in there anyway. So there's 3 weeks that he's off it.
Oh, wow.
And even when he went back there, they said, no, you've got to go back on it. And he goes, no, I don't want to. That he sat there and had a conversation with him, and even they could see that he had improved. So they kept him off it.
Oh, fantastic.
But, what are the chances? You can't tell me God wasn't in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? God has intervened so many times since he's been in jail.
Yep.
And from the day he got there, his first 24 hours when he got there, he heard God's voice audibly, which gave him a big wake-up call.
Yep.
He's had a lot of situations that things could have been really, really bad for him in jail, and God's just put people in the right place, or but he's also got him into, and every time he's faltered, there was he just basically reads his Bible each day and stuff like that, and every time he falters, or he watches something on TV that's not right, or he reads a book that he shouldn't be reading, things start to go wrong. And so he'll get rid of the book or stop watching that show, and things will come back.
So he's learning what his triggers are.
Yeah.
And then putting strategies in place to.
Yep. And God's every time he wavers a little bit, God's like, no, back here.
Yeah.
So,
and we're going to have the privilege of meeting Kyle soon, because he's going to be coming in and working for us, and doing some volunteering with us once he gets out. And I look forward to meeting him and giving him a mama cuddle, because I'm like a mama in this place. I just want to gather my chicks and I love them. And we've had some great new ones start this week actually with us, and I interviewed a guy yesterday whose story was pretty tragic, but he got through it, and he started at the age of 11. And so there's always an opportunity for you to find a way out, and I know we talk about God, and God has been your help, and but guys, we don't preach at you. We just want to say, just ask and say, Lord God, if you're real, show me. If you're real, show me how real you are through my situation. Do something that's out of the ordinary. And I promise you he will if you just ask him. And he will. And, you know, we just find a lot of success stories when people put their faith in God, but that's another story. But, you know, we're coming to an end of our interview tonight. It's gone so fast. Oh my goodness. If there's anything that you could really leave our audience with tonight for family support for yourself, is there anything you'd like to say a family member who's out there thinking, I just don't know what to do, my son, my daughter's just scaring me, and I'm at the end of my tether. If there's someone out there thinking that, what would you like to say to them?
Don't give up. Don't give up on them, and that they are still in there. It's just finding the right help, whether that's the anti-ice program or whether that's someone else, a different program. But there is a lot of people out there. It's huge in our community these days. Just reach out, ask for help. Don't do it alone. And that I don't have a lot of other family up here. God was my support, and my church family was my support. Whether it's walking into a church and asking for help, they can put you in the right direction. You know,
and if they don't, go to another church
until
you find someone that does.
But there is, they do have a lot of stuff out there. It's hard. It's really hard. If you found this website, it's a godsend.
How did you get onto us? I must ask you. Was who works with us, Warren? Yeah. So he got you onto us, and because he's doing placement here, doing community services, and he's just been a godsend for us here. He's an absolute. I'll give him honour right now, Woz. You'll know you're watching, mate.
He's going to watch it later when he gets home.
Oh, he's going to get it. So I thank God for him. So I want to thank you so much, Trudy, for giving and sharing your heart and your soul, because I'm sure it hasn't been easy for you. No,
not a really video person, that's for sure. Take photos, not anything else.
Aren't you glad tonight we're on our little phones because our cameraman, and I want to wish you all the best out there, Brad, if you're watching. Hope you get better soon. Our professional cameraman's off crook. And with that in mind, talking about volunteers and cameramen, a good segue is we are in need of volunteers for WA, Sydney, Cairns and Melbourne. If you guys want to volunteer with us, go to our website, all the W's, AustralianAntiIceCampaign.org.au, and scroll down, you'll find the volunteer section, click on that. And if you're hearing somebody making funny noises in the background, it's our Andrea. She has not been very well this week. We were down at Coffs Harbour last week training, and if you're from Coffs, hi there. And she brought half of the Coffs Harbour back. Coffs Harbour, get it? She came back coughing. Then she lost her voice, you know. I'm trying to be funny, but I just quit while I'm behind. So anyway, if you want to volunteer with us, please, guys, we plead with you, get in touch with us, fill in the volunteer form, and our volunteer coordinator, Anne, who's also probably watching, she's one of our faithful viewers, we'll get in touch with you about volunteering and having an appointment with us. And our Gold Coast Walk Against Ice, and everyone, is go to the website, register for the Walk Against Ice on Sunday the 15th of September, and Andrea's Andrea's going to be playing the banjo. She's going she's going to be singing. I'm steering her. She's doing all this charade stuff to me. She's got no voice tonight. So Andrea's band is going to be there, guys. She's going to be singing, and I hear Wazza's going to be playing. Is that correct? Yeah, he'll be playing the banjo. No, he'll be playing the fool. Yeah. No, I'll be playing the fool. I'll be down playing the fool. Wazza will be playing his bass guitar or whatever guitar it is on electric guitar. She's laughing her head off now. What is it he plays? Electric guitar. Oh, okay. Anyway, so we'll be there having some fun on the Walk Against Ice, because I know it is a tragic subject. We know that, but it can be turned around for good. You know, and I know that if we don't laugh, we cry.
Yes,
don't we?
100%.
And sometimes a coping mechanism can be a little bit of comedy, fun. And you've got to self-care. That's the other thing I just want to bring home tonight. If you've got a loved one in addiction, don't forget to care about yourself, okay? Do something kind for yourself tomorrow. I think we're just about wrapping up. Is that right, Andrea? We're just about wrapping up, and I can't do the not even once sign because of my crook hands. Can't do it, but Andrea can show Trudy. We like to finish the show with our little symbolic thing we do. So follow her, not, and on the other hand, because of the three will be backwards, not even once. Okay, so guys, if you want to do that again, not even once. We'll see you next week when Andrea will be back full of voice and vigour. Thanks, guys. See ya.